Well, thank you, my friend, for taking some time. They were massive protests, but what does it mean to you?
Not much. It's the same crew that put together the Women's March after the president was inaugurated. I call it the dark left. If you go to BillO'Reilly.com and you read the message of the day, the dark left is basically a bunch of organizations funded by very wealthy individuals like George Soros who mobilize immediately on the internet and get the activists on the far left out to where they want them. So even though President Trump signed an executive order that said the federal government will not mandate separations of children from their guardians when they come across the border illegally, even though that happened, they still wanted a mass demonstration. So the question is why? Why did they want the mass demonstration? And the answer is because they don't want Trump to be reelected. And they want to say to all immigrants in this country, he hates you. So we'll demonstrate no matter what he does. And that's what happened.
Well, and I agree with everything you just said, Bill, but politically, does it mean anything? When you look at this weekend, is it just the far left, or do you see, as I see, more Democrat enthusiasm out there?
You know, the polls show that most Americans want a secure border and they don't want rampant illegal immigration. That's what the polls show, okay? So the people who do want unfettered illegal immigration were demonstrating. I don't know how that helps the Democratic Party. If the majority of the country doesn't want that, yet you're out there demonstrating for it, how does that help? So that's my dilemma there.
Well, and then to buttress your point, Bill, you've got, in this past week or so, we've got Democrat elected officials who have joined on to this call to abolish ICE, our immigration agents. That cannot be good politics.
Again, the majority of Americans, if you talk with them, will say that's crazy. So we have to have immigration enforcement. That's what ICE is. ICE enforces immigration and customs law in the United States. So Senator Kirsten Gillibrand here in New York, Senator Kamala Harris in California, the crazy Senator Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. No, we don't. No, let's do away with ICE. We're going to do away with it. And then you look around and you go, okay, so you're going to do away with, then who enforces immigration law? What's their answer? They don't have an answer. There is no answer. Yeah. If you don't have a federal agency, it'd be like saying, well, we have to abolish the CIA. All right. CIA goes, everybody's fired. Then who investigates what's happening overseas? Who brings intelligence to the President of the United States on what China's doing or what Russia's doing? Who? And it's the same thing. So this Gillibrand in New York is very interesting. When she was a congressperson, Democratic congressperson, right, she was a conservative. She was against amnesty for illegal aliens. She was an NRA supporter. And now she's Miss Far Left. Just shows you how some politicians evolve.
Hey, Bill, do you see the anti-Trump movement, the anti-Trump anger on the left? I'm getting a sense from listening to you that you don't see it growing in a massive way. It's a very loud, kind of a fringe minority. Is that how you'd classify it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The media loves the anti-Trump movement. The media loves the dark left. Loves it so much they won't expose it. That's how much the media loves the dark left. They all know what George Soros does. They all know what these organizations are. Move On, Color of Change. They know. I'm not going to report on them. Okay, so the media then gives a megaphone to the dark left and allows them to just vent. So that's what you hear. But that doesn't mean that the majority of American voters are buying into it. I think quite the opposite. I think they're turning it off. One of the reasons that Fox News has remained the #1 cable news network is because it's now all people who hate the far left. That's all that watches Fox News. But there's a lot of them. And they can't go anyplace else. They have to. It's a funnel. They're funneling them in there. And they say to them, well, why don't you watch one of the other networks to get a little diversity of opinion? I can't stand it. They can't stand it. All right? And I don't blame them, because it's propaganda, it's hate, and it's over and over and over and over again. So that's where we are.
Do you see, Bill, the Dems being able to get any traction on this idea of separating the poor kids from the adults? I mean, they're focusing on this whole family fake news issue, but they're focusing on it. Can they get traction there?
But it's already been adjudicated, hasn't it? He signed, President Trump signed the executive order that says the federal government is not to separate the kids from their guardians, even if they come over illegally. So that's already in the process of disappearing. And as you know, in 2014, President Obama put that policy in place. It was an Obama policy that was just enforced by the Trump administration. You don't hear that. Don't hear that reported. So, all right, they can continue to scream about the kids being separated, but they're not being separated anymore. And so the story is not a contemporary story. It's, well, they did it for 4 days. We didn't like it. Then he changed it, and we still don't like it. So we're going to continue to go around the merry-go-round. All right, I think most Americans understand the con there.
I've never asked you this question directly, Bill O'Reilly. Do you buy into this notion of the blue wave this November?
No. No.
You don't?
No. I don't buy into the notion of any wave. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult election on both sides. A lot has to do with how the stock market holds up. A lot has to do with that. So President Trump better watch the tariff business. Better watch it. Because that stock market goes over the cliff, that means that a lot of traditional Americans who would ordinarily vote for him are going to get hurt in their 401 and retirement plans. So you better watch that. The economy itself is good and growing. Most people feel a little bit more confident in their own personal financial situation. That's a plus for the Republicans. But the overwhelming hatred in not only the press, but also the entertainment industry, which has really ratcheted up. So you got a double whammy there. You got the press and the entertainment industry both attacking Trump every day. The distracted voters who don't know anything, and there are plenty of them, they're going to be influenced by the press and the entertainment industry, particularly the entertainment industry. So I think both the parties better not get too wildly enthusiastic about anything, because it's going to be a brawl.
But to put a cap on this, Bill, you see no major political impact from all of these massive protests this weekend when it comes to what's going to happen this November.
No, unless a little kid dies or something like that. I think the story is draining now. It's draining out. And I think most Americans say, look, we need to have border security. So it's better for President Trump if Gillibrand and the other two senators, Harris and the lady in Massachusetts, go around saying we have to abolish ICE. That's better for Trump, because then the independent voters will go, this is too crazy. All right? I mean, we're looking at both sides, but we don't want the crazy side. So that'll help Trump.
Right.
Coming up, Harvey Weinstein hit with new criminal charges, plus the FBI prevents a possible July 4th terror attack. Your headlines are next.